जय राधा रास बिहारी राधा रास बिहारी राधे जय गौरांगी बैंगलोरेश्वर गौरांगी बैंगलोरेश्वर गौरांगी जय जगन्नाथ जय देवा जय सुभद्रा जय सुदर्शना जय लक्ष्मीनरसिंह जय अनंत देव प्रहलाद नरसिंह जय अनंत देव जय निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य निताय चैतन्य जय निताय चैतन्य जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य स्तोत्र शत। इस डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्रजाचार्य स्तोत्र शत। इस डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ षट गोस्वामी प्रभुगण की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। मायापुर नवद्वीप धाम की जय। श्री क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। द्वारिका धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। कावेरी माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। ग्रंथ राज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories and glories to Sri Guru and Gaurav. Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतं सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलङ्गायतेन्द्रियं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदत्तारिणं परमानन्दं माधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरं हरि ओम तत्सत्। Hare Krishna, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33. That's the last chapter of this particular canto. And the chapter is titled as Activities of Kapila. And we're going to be reading Shloka 15, 16, and 17. Allow me a minute to share the screen. Still opening. Give me a minute, please. Sorry, I think it's taking much longer than it should. Look, the next 1 minute or so. प्रजापते कर्दमास्य तपोयोगा विज्रवीतम् स्वगृहस्थ्याम् अनौपम्यम् प्रार्थ्यं वैमारिकापि प्रजापते कर्दमास्य तपोयोगा विजृम्भितम् स्वगर्हस्थ्यम् अनौपम्यम् प्रार्थ्यं वैद्यमीकरपि प्रजापतेर्कर्दमास्य तपयोगा विजावृतम् स्वगर्हस्थ्यम् अनौपम्यम् प्रार्थयं वैमानिकामपि. Word to word translation. Just close this. Prajapate, of the propagator of mankind. Kardamasya, Kardam Muni. Tapa, by austerity. Yoga, by yoga. Vijrambhitam, developed. Swagarhasthyam, his home and household paraphernalia. Anaupamyam, unequaled. Prarthyam, enviable. Vaimanikai, by the denizens of heaven. Api, even. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. The home and household paraphernalia of Kardama, who was one of the Prajapatis, was developed in such a way by dint of his mystic power of austerity and yoga that his opulence was sometimes envied by those who travel in the outer space in aeroplanes. Purport. The statement in this verse that Kardam Muni's household affairs were envied even by persons who travel in outer space refers to denizens of heaven. Their airships are not like those we have invented in the modern age, which fly only from one country to another. Their airplanes were made capable of going from one planet to another. There are many such statements in the Srimad Bhagavatam from which we can understand that there were facilities to travel from one planet to another, especially in the higher planetary system. And who can say that they are not still traveling? The speed of our airplanes and space vehicles is very limited, but as we have already studied, Kardamuni traveled in the outer space in an airplane which was like a city, and he journeyed to see all the different heavenly planets. That was not an ordinary airplane, nor was it an ordinary space travel, because Kardamuni was such a powerful mystic yogi. His opulence was envied by the denizens of heaven. We will also continue the next shloka. We will read the purport and the translation. The next shloka does not have the purport, but we'll read the translation, and we will also read the 17th verse purport and translation. Just give me 1 minute. Just opening the verse. Sorry, I think it's taking much longer than it should take. Maybe I will stop this sharing and share another file from where we can read it. Yes. Okay. I hope my screen is visible on 16th shloka. We'll read the translation. The opulence of household of Kardam Muni is described herein. The bedsheets and the mattresses were all as white as the foam of milk. The chairs and benches were made of ivory and were covered by cloths of lace with golden filigree. And the couches were made of gold and had a very soft pillow. Text 17, translation. The walls of the houses were made of first-class marble, decorated with valuable jewels. There were no need of light, for the household was illuminated by the rays of these jewels. The female members of the household were amply decorated with jewelry. It is understood from the statement that opulence of the household life was exhibited in valuable jewels, ivory, first-class marble, and furniture made of gold and jewels. The cloths are also mentioned as being decorated with golden filigree. Everything actually had some value. It was not like the furniture of the present day, which is cast of valueless plastic or base metal. The way of Vedic civilization is that whatever was used in the household affair had to be valuable. In case of need, such items of value could be exchanged immediately. Thus, once broken and unwanted furniture and paraphernalia could never be without value. This system is still followed by Indian in the household affairs. They keep metal utensils and golden ornaments or silver plates and valuable silk garments with gold embroidery. And in this case, in case of need, they can have some money in exchange immediately. There are exchanges for the moneylenders and the householders. Om Tat Sat. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to chapter 3 of 33 of Canto 3, chapter titled Activities of Kapila, and the canto is titled as the status quo. Om Tat Sat. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shlakaya Chakshurur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Raghunatham Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 Hare Hare. So this is the continuation of the activities of Kapila, which has been described here. And before we actually go into today's verse and the discussion on the verse, here I would like to highlight that how much of faith Srila Prabhupada had in the statement of Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya. We chant this every day in the morning. Say Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya. It is not external. It's all the faith that Srila Prabhupada had in the holy name. He had the faith in Srimad Bhagavatam. And we all know that Srila Prabhupada wrote a Bengali song on board the Jaladuta. And he says, "Oh Lord, how these people in the Western world, how can they be liberated? There's so much of rajas, there is so much of tamas. It's only because of your mercy. If you shower your causeless mercy, then they will be liberated." And Srila Prabhupada also goes on to make the statement saying that you are the greatest magician. Krishna is referred here as the greatest magician. And Srila Prabhupada also says you are non-different from Srimad Bhagavatam. That is Krishna. The name of Krishna is non-different from Srimad Bhagavatam, or Srimad Bhagavatam is non-different from Krishna. If anybody hears Srimad Bhagavatam, that means he is already accepting Krishna. He is already accepting him. And Srimad Bhagavatam is a literally incarnation. Yeah, many times we have discussed on this literary incarnation. But the most important part here is the giving us submissive oral reception. Submissive oral reception means attentively hearing, attentively giving the oral reception. And Srila Prabhupada goes on to make this statement saying that if Srimad Bhagavatam is read every day, then liberation is guaranteed. You don't have to worry about anything. Now, one may ask, what is the proof that Srila Prabhupada had so much of faith in Srimad Bhagavatam? Yeah, would anybody know why Srila Prabhupada had so much of faith, and how did he exhibit his faith? When Srila Prabhupada traveled on board Jaladuta, the only thing that he personally carried, is only Srimad Bhagavatam. He didn't carry anything else. He did not carry any deities. He did not carry any other paraphernalia. He carried only Srimad Bhagavatam. And that means that Srila Prabhupada carried Krishna along with him to the Western world, just to fulfill the orders of his spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. He called him and he said, go to the Western world. He had told him, saying that, you are learned, you are English-speaking person. Why can't you preach to the Western world? And that was very close to Srila Prabhupada's heart. And it might not have really fructified immediately, but then after so many years, Srila Prabhupada decided that he'll go to the Western world to preach the holy name of the Lord. So that's the kind of faith that Srila Prabhupada had in Srimad Bhagavatam. 1 hour is actually good for us to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, but if not 1 hour, at least half an hour of Srimad Bhagavatam is very, very important for one to hear. If we really hear the classes on Srimad Bhagavatam by Srila Prabhupada, even by mistake, he never lectured more than 1 hour. He would generally keep it to 1 hour. Yeah, there are many long classes of Srila Prabhupada, but they are not actually classes. He would limit his lecture only to 1 hour max, and then there would be conversations which are there. And Srila Prabhupada was also not in favor of the Bhagavad Saptah, because he felt after 7 days, everything is gone. People come, hear the 7 days of Saptah. Saptah in Hindi means 7 days. And they eat prasadam, they meet people, and then after 7 days, everything is forgotten. So Srila Prabhupada is not very in favor of having this Bhagavad Saptah and all of that. Now, Srila Prabhupada also described there are 3 types of people, or 3 types of listening or reading. One is personally reading it. Second one is listening, that is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. And the third one is explaining Srimad Bhagavatam. Hearing is very good. Reading is very good. But at the same time, listening and explaining is more powerful than just reading it. So that is why we always request devotees that they should read Srimad Bhagavatam and discuss among themselves, discuss among the devotees. So, you listen and then you explain. That carries a lot of value. I remember in one of the classes, His Holiness Srila Japtak Swami Guru Maharaj made this statement saying that if you just read, there is 80% possibility that you may forget. But if you listen, somebody speaking, then there is a possibility that you'll retain 60% of it. And when you hear or when you listen and then explain it to somebody else, repeat whatever has been said, there is a possibility of retaining almost 90% of what you've heard. So listen and explain is more powerful than just reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should make it a practice that we should listen to it and we should talk about it to other devotees. Now, coming to today's shloka, it is talking about Karda Muni's household, which was so opulent. And this household was so opulent that everybody, even the denizens of the upper planetary systems, were very, very keen on having something like this. They were yearning to get such a household. Now, with these days, we talk about airplanes. And the earlier days, their airships were not like what we have now. You have a crumpled place. You have hardly any space to keep your legs. You can't walk around in a space in the airplane. But during Kardamuni's household, he had a plane as big as a city. So that is very clearly understood, saying that our material advancement that we feel today, that we are able to fly non-stop from here to Madrid, we are able to fly from here to San Francisco, we are able to fly long distance, is not material advancement. This advancement was already there in the past, has already been experienced, and it is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Here we understand the complete details of this air city, you can call, not only an airplane. So if this air city can fly and go to different places and it has everything on board, yeah, this can be actually compared to a, well, though not as really as it is, but it can be compared to these days that we see of cruises. They have all the facilities on board. They have staying accommodation, they have a swimming pool, then they have a gym area and all of those things. But though it cannot be an apple to apple comparison, it's just to give you a little insight into it, saying that, when the cruise is sailing on the sea, you have everything on board and you don't require to go outside to get anything. Food is served, there's entertainment, all of that available. Likewise, Kardamuni's air city had everything there, and it is also described in those two other shlokas where you had pure marble, you had, their bedspreads as white as the milk, the froth of the milk, and they were made of gold. They had golden laces, and they had filigree and all of that. So such a beautiful city it was that everybody yearned, or everybody wanted to have a city like that. So Kardamuni was really, really opulent. It's not that just because he was a yogi, he did not have. By dint of his mystic power, he could create this. Now, somebody may have a question saying that how is it possible that they can fly from one planet to another planet on the aeroplane and all that? But a small example of this is there today. We can travel from India to America or Europe or any other country. Likewise, they can also travel. It's not only that they could travel by the airplanes or air cities. If we see Narad Muni did not even have an airplane. He would just, by the dint of his mind and desire, he would travel. One moment he will be in Vaikuntha, another moment he will be on Earth planet, another moment he'll be at another planet. So it was possible for all these great devotees of the Lord, by their mystic power, that they could travel by the dint of their mind and desire. Many times we think that, if we are not able to travel, that doesn't mean that they are not traveling. Yeah, they are still traveling. It's just that our eyes are not so powerful enough to see them traveling in the space. And who's controlling the air? There are no accidents. There are thousands of cars and there are no accidents on the road. So likewise, there are hundreds of planes currently also flying in the air, and all of them are safe. Yeah, there's one example. There was a Bengali devotee who was in US and he was driving a car, and there was a red light and he crossed the red light and went ahead. So his son, who was sitting next to him, a small little boy, said, "Hey, you have to follow the rules and regulations." Likewise, there are rules and regulations in the higher planetary system as well. Yeah, Kardamuni traveled on the aeroplane, which is like a city. Our aeroplanes are actually very, very boring. You can't, as I was telling you earlier, you can't stretch your leg, you can't move around, you can't walk around, and there is a limit to how much it can fly. It can only fly you for about 6 hours, 8 hours, 12 hours at the most, not like that. Whereas the aeroplane or the air city of Kardam Muni could travel for days and months together, and you don't have to worry. And as I said earlier, it could go to different heavenly planets. And it's not an express travel, not an ordinary express travel. That's the grahastha, the opulence that Kardam Muni had. And this came with tapasya. And what is the tapasya in the Kali Yuga? The tapasya is chanting of the holy name. Our acharyas mention that you can become a king, but devotees don't want to become king. Just by chanting the holy name, you can actually become king also. But devotees don't like to become the king. There's a very nice pastime that I would like to narrate from Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Rupa Goswami explains how Gopakumar, who was chanting the holy name, became the king. Okay, who was Gopakumar? Gopakumar was a village boy from Vrindavan, and his Guru Maharaj gives him the mantra. It was called Gopal mantra, and he was just a boy. He becomes a zamindar, then he becomes a king, and at the end he goes to Golok Vrindavan. And this is just by the dint of chanting the holy name. So Gopakumar, he becomes a king and goes to heaven. So in the heaven, Indra had actually run out of his time. So the demigods caught hold of Gopakumar and made him the Indra, made him the king. And he was still practicing Krishna consciousness in the heaven. He was chanting the holy name. He was not getting the taste of chanting the holy name while even sitting in the heaven. But he continued his chanting. He starts his focus on chanting, and he continues to chant the holy name of the Lord. And one day, by dint of his chanting, he finds himself in Brahmaloka. And in Brahmaloka, what are they doing? They're doing yagyas and they're able to meet the Lord. All of that is happening. And while he was chanting, he met the Lord there in Brahmaloka. But he was still not getting the taste. And then, just by the dint of his chanting, he was continuously chanting the holy name of the Lord. He finds himself in Vaikuntha. There he sees Mother Lakshmi serving Lord Narayana, and Mother Lakshmi treats him like a son. But he's still not getting the taste of chanting the Gopal mantra. But that doesn't mean that he stops. He continues chanting his holy name. And there people told everybody here is, four-handed form in Vaikuntha. Why don't you also take a four-handed form? He says, no, I'm happy with chanting my holy name. That's good enough for me. So Vaikuntha also he doesn't really enjoy. He meets Narad Muni and expresses his concern, saying that I'm not really enjoying this place. I want to, continue my chanting. And he sends him to Ayodhya. There he meets Lord Ramachandra. He's not really enjoying that. He still continues to chant his holy name that he was given by his guru. Then from there he was sent to Dwarika. Dwarika is very opulent. Our Dwarikadish, Krishna, is the king in Dwarika. And then it's all very opulent. But he still doesn't enjoy that place. Then finally he comes to Golok Vrindavan. And when he comes to Golok Vrindavan, he was very, very, very happy. He was not happy meeting any other place or being even Indra or even going to the other planetary systems or Brahmaloka or even going into Vaikuntha. But when he goes to Golok Vrindavan, he becomes very happy and then he continues his service. So it says that, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can go back to Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan, and serve the Lord eternally. Then we don't have to take birth again. We can go on and on and on by serving the Lord there at Golok Vrindavan. And for this, we have to be very, very grateful to Srila Prabhupada. It is said if we are not grateful for what Srila Prabhupada has given to us, then we are the greatest fool. We should be grateful to him, otherwise we are the greatest fool. That even after having got this human form of life, even after getting the association of the devotees, even after getting the holy name of the Lord, even after reading Srimad Bhagavatam, even after having a wonderful movement like International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is spread across the world, has centers, has so many goshalas, has so many temples, and all of that, we are the greatest fool who are not taking the advantage of this. The only intent, once a person gets the human form of life and learns all this from a bona fide spiritual master, is to serve the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then move ahead in our spiritual progress so that we can go back home, back to Golok Vrindavan, back to Krishna's land, serve him eternally, and never again desire to be lording over the material nature, never again desiring to be bigger than Krishna, never again desiring to be on the same level as Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. We can never ever be at the same level of Krishna. So I would end the class here. It is, if anybody has any questions, we can take those questions, or if you have any comments, please go ahead and make the comments. And if there is nothing, I will quickly recap what we discussed today. So we started with the shloka, the 15th shloka, which talked about the air city of Kardam Muni. And he was one of the Prajapatis. And by his mystic power, he could develop this, air city which could travel in the outer space. And this was envied by the denizens of the other planetary system, the higher planetary systems. And the purport Srila Prabhupada says that these airplanes are capable of going from one planet to another planet. And as we see, Kardam Muni was such a powerful mystic yogi. His opulence was also envied by the denizens of heaven. And then we also saw the description of the household of Kardam Muni, which is described. The bedsheet and the mattress were actually as white as the foam of the milk, the froth or the foam of the milk. The chairs and benches were made of ivory, and they were covered with cloth of lace with golden filigree. And the couches were made of gold and that very soft pillow. So you can even understand this, the kind of opulence that was there. Now we can't even see a original ivory, or you can't even see, a 22, 24 karat gold. It's all mixed. Yeah. And then further, Srila Prabhupada talks about the walls of this particular airplane. Somebody may think that, airplane has walls. Yes, they do. This is because this is an air city. The walls of these houses were made of first-class marble, decorated with valuable jewels. They had manikya, they had diamonds, everything on the walls. There was no need of light because this household was completely illuminated by the jewels which are there. So they would shine. Yeah. And at the end, in the translation of the 17th shloka, Srila Prabhupada also talks about the members, the female members of the households are amply decorated with jewelry. Even today in India, we see that, people are decorated with jewelry. They like to buy a lot of jewelry and use it on occasions, big festivals. They wear it on Krishna Janmashtami. Female members of the society wears a lot of opulent jewelry. And so all this was given, and the furniture was of a lot of value. So as we started the class, we discussed about how much of faith Srila Prabhupada had in the statement of Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and why we should really read Bhagavatam every day, at least, if not 1 hour, half an hour, and discuss. We also spoke about how one needs to listen and explain. So if one listens and explains, then you tend to retain at least 80 to 90% of what you have heard. Yeah. And Srimad Bhagavatam is read every day and liberation is guaranteed. And Srila Prabhupada had so much faith that he carried only Srimad Bhagavatam to the Western world when he traveled to America. And he knew that Bhagavatam could change their life. Kardamuni's household was, again, as we discussed, very, very opulent. Everybody wanted to be like that. And we were talking about the normal days aeroplane, but these airships or the air cities are not like that. Narad Muni could travel by dint of his mind and desire. Then we also spoke about how this air city would look like. It would be looking like, though it is not the exact comparison, but it could look like these days cruise, which are huge and they have all the facilities on board. And when they're sailing, you don't have to look for anything beyond the cruise because everything is made available there. Then we also heard about the story of Gokumar from Brihad Bhagavatamrita, where Rupa Goswami explains how Gokumar was chanting the holy name and how it becomes the Samindar, then he becomes the king, goes to Vaikuntha, he goes to Brahmaloka, he goes to Indraloka, and goes to, he also went to Ayodhya, and from there he also goes to Dwarka, but he was not happy. Finally, he was very happy when he goes back to Golok Vrindavan and when he meets Krishna. So that should be the goal of life, that we should all go and meet Krishna and serve him eternally. And by chanting the holy name, we can all go back to Vrindavan and serve the Lord. And last but not the least, we have to be very, very grateful to Srila Prabhupada because he gave us this wonderful moment of Krishna consciousness. If we are not grateful to Srila Prabhupada, we are the greatest fool. So I will end our conversation and discussion here. If there are any questions, please go ahead and ask. Or if there are any comments, please go ahead and make the comments. Otherwise, we will end the session for today. Okay, so if there are no questions, we will end here. Thank you very much for joining today's morning Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Thank you all the devotees. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanante, Hari Hari Bol. Sorry, Govardhan Prabhu, I think I saw you unmuting. So if you had a question, maybe you could ask Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandava Pranam, Prabhu. Just I want to thank you, Prabhu, for a wonderful class, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.